Let's dive deeper into the China crackdown on crypto. And joining us now to discuss is Bobby Lee, author of The Promise of Bitcoin, founder and CEO of Ballet, and co-founder of BTCC, formerly BTC China, the first Bitcoin exchange in China. So, Bobby, what is different this time about this crypto ban in China, if there's anything at all? Does this one have teeth?
So it's more of the same. So technically, it is a more severe crackdown. It closed the loopholes for the exchanges who are operating from abroad, offering services, trading services to the Chinese people on mainland China. As you know, the last ban in 2017 essentially forced all the exchanges to close down within China, and I myself would close down BTC China operations, whereas our competitors nominally moved abroad. So there was a loophole where they could sort of relocate abroad from a jurisdiction perspective, yet offer the same trading services to the same domestic Chinese users. So this time the ban is explicit. It criminalizes the service offerings from abroad to Chinese mainland users. So this closes all off the buying and selling of the transactions that involve buying and selling of Bitcoin. So I know in the media they've talked about this bans all Bitcoin transactions. I think that's a mistranslation. It's more about banning the buy-sell transactions. Whereas, for example, traditional transfers, if I were to withdraw some coins from an exchange, that is still legal. And holding and owning cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, that is still legal. So it's not the final nail in the coffin.
So, Bobby, one of the main ways that cryptocurrency traders are operating in China is through over-the-counter OTC platforms, and as far as I know, those still exist, right? So these are not actually exchanges; these are more platforms that kind of connect buyers and sellers. That to me seems like that would be a big nail in the coffin. What do you see as the future of OTC trading in China?
So I think OTC platforms that are operated from the big exchanges, the Huobi and so on, and Binance, they will close down. They will stop offering their services to the Chinese mainland users. So I think the last few days, I think there's still OTC users, making transactions. I think that will just taper off. I think what's happening is with capital controls and the strong sort of regulatory pressure on Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin and crypto assets are going to become what we call foreign assets. Think of mainland Chinese citizens who may own real estate property in another country, in Australia, in Canada, in the United States. So Bitcoin becomes that kind of foreign asset where you can't sell that foreign property from within mainland China. But if one day you were to travel to that country on vacation or for whatever work reason, then when you're abroad, you can then take care of buying and selling these foreign assets. But while inside mainland China, you won't be able to do that.
You just made a very bold statement that China is going to close down OTC trading. That's been a major force for crypto trading in China. So what will happen to the traders, the mainland traders? Because as we've discussed before, people in China generally are good at getting around these kinds of restrictions. They've sort of navigated their way around restrictions for many years. Would this really shut down the cryptocurrency market in China, or would people just find another way? And what would that way be?
I think it will shut down the trading market for cryptocurrency. I think cryptocurrency, the mining aspect has already been shut down since earlier this summer. The trading aspect was partially shut down in September of 2017, but due to the workarounds and all the OTC and all the underground money changers and moving to USDT and all that, it still thrived in an underground fashion in the past 4 years. I think with this regulatory crackdown this past Friday, I think that will sort of close off that loophole and officially make it a criminal behavior activity to both for the companies abroad that offer the trading services and for the domestic users in China who do try to buy, sell through these platforms. So again, this is to further the objective for the regime, which is to control the finances, the economics, and to not allow this sort of rogue trading of crypto asset that's outside of the framework of the PRC.
So in the end, what is China's, well, you mentioned China's endgame is to control the financial system. Do you think they will actually succeed in that, or will crypto find a way? Because there are a lot of personalities in the crypto space who are saying, well, you can try to ban Bitcoin, you can try to ban decentralized cryptocurrencies, but it will always find a way of popping back up because you can't stamp out the internet. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think crypto will find a way?
My thought is, on Earth, as a planet, cryptocurrency will never get squashed. Bitcoin will always stay around and thrive, because all it takes is for a group of people to consider it as valuable asset, and people will start holding it, hoarding it, and trading it, and making payments in it. Now, countries obviously have governments who can have the right to set the rules as they see fit. So if China wants to ban the trading or the transaction nature of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin in China, China has every right to do so. However, Bitcoin will continue to thrive. And I think Bitcoin is still the investment of our lifetime. So Bitcoin, in terms of its price, in terms of its value, I don't think that's going to be affected whether or not a single country will stop using it. So I'm sort of, I see both sides. I understand that China can put an effective ban to the transactions, to the trading, buying, selling of Bitcoin. China has long since banned the leverage trading, the futures trading contracts and stuff like that of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So now the OTC stuff will get stopped as well. So there's two sides to it.
Bobby, thus far, at least what we're seeing over the past few days, your thesis is completely right in the sense that China has sort of amped up this crackdown, and it hasn't affected Bitcoin's price very much at all, at least not in a significant way. In fact, it's been going up. But there's a lot more to come. Like, for example, Huobi has basically said that existing users need to sort of get off by the end of the year. As you said, there's the chance that they could shut down OTC trading. If these two things happen, a lot of people are going to be selling cryptocurrency and probably putting it back into Chinese currency, right? So is there like a major price movement that could come in the next few months? Because it seems like China is still, there's a lot of people holding crypto there, it seems, right? So when these two events happening, Huobi basically closing the doors and also OTC potentially shutting down, is there a potential Bitcoin crash that would follow?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I take the optimistic side of that. And here's why. So when it comes to bad news, like rumors of bad news, it's always sell on the rumor, buy on the news. What that means is when the rumors of it, there's pricing pressure on the underlying asset, in this case, Bitcoin. There's been rumors all summer that China would take a harder stance, harder crackdown on Bitcoin. And the reason this time when the news did come out this Friday, as you know, the document was dated September 15th. So it took another, 8-10 days for the news to get out, to be officially published by the PBOC. So in the interim, it was sort of priced into the news was sort of priced into the price of Bitcoin. And when the news came out, it was a relief that it wasn't worse than people thought it was. And that's why it was very small correction. And now it's already practically recovered to where it was on Thursday, Friday morning before the news came out.
Though, it's just sort of, there's a little bit of a distinction here, though, because we're not talking about news. I'm talking about like a lot of people in China actually having to sell because these platforms will close, right?
Yeah, let me talk about that. That
seems like that could have a more...
Yeah, but the reality is, because the trading has already been stopped, so it's kind of like the Chinese people have no way to sell it anymore for all practical purposes. There's no longer a mad rush at the gate because you're not allowed to rush out. You're not allowed to sell or buy, for that matter. So I think it's gonna freeze. Like, the people who have crypto will have to withdraw it onto a cold wallet. We, as maker of Ballet, we see a huge rise. We saw a huge rise in orders over the weekend. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think the remaining people, some people are panicking. They don't know what to do. But the people who are panicking, they don't really have a way to sell their coins anymore. So it's just going to sort of stay put for the next few months and years. And in reality, what I see is actually a very bullish Q4 for this year. I still stand by my prediction that Bitcoin prices will go way above 100,000, maybe even over $200,000 this year by end of this year in November, December timeframe. And I think with this sort of bad news out of the way, that the reason why the market price recovers is because once the bad news, so to speak, is in the past, it's already come out, it's now part of our history and no longer something that we have to worry about as a market, that's when the prices can recover and start climbing back up again. And that's what we're seeing the last 48 hours.
Is there another catalyst you're seeing that will drive up the price of cryptocurrency? You said over 100,000 for Bitcoin, but also secondly, are Chinese people dealing with crypto putting themselves at risk then?
I don't think Chinese people. I'll answer the second question. I don't think Chinese people are putting themselves at risk. I'm a very bullish, Bitcoin bullish on Bitcoin and crypto. So when people own it, think of it treat it as a foreign asset. Treat it as if you owned a piece of real estate in Hawaii or in some foreign country. So the fact that you can't buy, sell doesn't mean that it's worthless. In fact, if anything, the price can still continue to go up over the next few years, and you just don't have a way to sell it in the interim. So for all, the positive way to see it is for all the amount of Bitcoin and crypto that's held in China that cannot be bought or sold, as the prices go up, maybe there's less selling pressure, if anything, right? Now, certainly there's less buying volume because Chinese people cannot easily buy it. But that's not going to stop the success of cryptocurrency, right? So Bitcoin wasn't born to succeed because China is around, right? If China is not here, Bitcoin can still succeed and will continue to succeed. So in that sense, I think it's healthy for the world to realize that Bitcoin is truly decentralized and not dependent on one specific market or segment.